Hey guys, it's Christopher. Welcome to chapter number 4 of the Solarus tutorial. Today we are going to talk about creating items, giving stuff to the player. So, first of all, there is a new version of Solarus, version 1.3. If you worked with 1.2 in the previous chapters, you need to download 1.3. 1.3.1. Here it is. So you need to put the engine to replace the previous one. Okay, so here, and same thing with the quest editor, of course. The main change of Solarus 1.3 is in the quest editor, because now you have a new a very interesting new feature in a quest editor. It's the sprite editor. We will see that. Okay, then if you try, of course, to run your game, the engine tells you this quest is made for 1.2, but you are running 1.3. If you run the editor will automatically suggest to convert the quest. There are not a lot of changes in data files, but still there are a few changes. Okay, it worked. So now we should be able to run the quest. Okay. The good news is that there are no incompatibilities in the Lua API. This was not the case of previous releases, and maybe some future releases will break slightly the Lua API. But this time no change in the Lua API, so no problem to convert your quest. Okay, first you can see that the quest tree has slightly changed. You have nice icons now with musics, sounds, all kinds of resources, the maps, of course, and sprites. And now you can edit graphically some sprites, like the hero. This is not a tutorial about sprites, but I just wanted to show you that a sprite is a list of animations. So animations like stopped, walking, and each animation is a list of directions. For example, the animation walking has 4 directions: walking to the right, to the north, to the west, or to the south. And some directions are animated. You see, this one has 8 frames, and some others have only 1 frame. Okay, let's talk about treasures, giving stuff to the player. Initially you have nothing in the items directory here, but we will create some items in this chapter. If you read the description of the video, I made a zip archive with a few useful things for this episode, including 3 item scripts All items are scripted in Lua. These 3 scripts are for the heart, the shield, and the sword. And I also included some dialogues. Dialogues are useful, are necessary, even necessary, when you create items. Because when the player opens a chest, the engine automatically tries to show a dialogue that have a special name. We'll see that in just a few moments. Okay. So now I have put my item scripts here. They still don't appear in the tree because they are not declared as part of the quest. To do that, you make a right click, new item, file name, heart, without the extension, and a friendly name for the quest editor. And then the editor automatically detected that the file already exists, so it opened the heart script for us. I will not explain very much how item scripts work. For now, I will explain how to create items, but it's a bit complex for now. Okay, sword. I mean, I will not explain precisely how these scripts work, but I will explain how to create treasures on the map, like pickable treasures or chests, and it will be enough for one chapter. And shield. Okay, now we have our 3 items declared in the quest. Let's try to create a map for this chapter. Chapter 4. Treasures. Okay. Tile set, I don't have a choice, and music. Let's pick the music that goes with this tile set. So, you know how tiles work. We saw that in previous chapters. Tiles are a static background, and all dynamic entities are on this toolbar. You already know teletransporters and destinations. Some of them are related to items and treasures. First of all, pickable items. You can create on the map an item to be picked by the player. This icon is the generic icon of pickable items for the quest editor, but you have to edit your item and choose a valid treasure, a valid item. So let's make a heart. Okay, and the magic. We now see the sprite of the heart. Why? Because there is a sprite, mandatory sprite that you have to do, and it is already here because it was included in the A Link to the Past resource pack. This sprite is called entities/items, and it must, first of all, it must exist, and it must contain for each item an animation with the same name. So we have an animation called heart, and here is a sprite. We also have an animation called sword with 4 directions, because the sword can exist in 4 variants, and same thing with the shield and 3 variants. Okay, so if you create a brand new item that doesn't exist yet as a sprite in the A Link to the Past resource pack, because of course you can make a game that is not related to Zelda, you have to create an animation in this sprite and create the appropriate number of directions depending on the number of variants of your item. Okay, so we have a small heart here. Let's test this. Let's put a destination. Also, now you have all Lua scripts that appear in the quest tree. This was not the case before. Yes, when you create the game, load chapter 4. Okay. And it works. Of course, we don't have a live bar yet, because we don't have the HUD, head-up display, and we never defined how much life the player has. So actually the player has 1 life point initially, and the heart actually gives 4 life points, because hearts can be divided in 4 parts. Okay, so this was the first kind of treasure that you can create on a map. You can also create a treasure under what we call a destructible item. Destructible items are, for example, bushes, stones, and this kind of stuff, grass. Let's create a destructible item as a bush. So where is the bush sprite? Normally it already exists. Yes. Player sound when destroyed. Bush. You see, destructible items can be completely configured this way. You can lift it with no special lift ability. This is the level required to lift the item. If you create a stone, maybe you will put 1 here and make a glove item that gives the ability to lift at level 1. It's a bush, so we can cut it with a sword. Cannot explode, regenerate, etc. Okay. The bush sprite also already exists. It's here, and it has several animations like destroy. So all of this can be changed. You can make new sprites for destructible items. And oh, I forgot the most important thing. What we wanted is to put a treasure under the bush. So let's try the shield and variant number 2, just to show you. You remember the shield can have 3 variants. You can also save any treasure. We will do that later, because right now we still cannot save our game. Okay, nice. You found the fire shield. You are now protected from fire attacks. What just happened? Why did we saw a dialog? Actually, there is a parameter on each item that says, do we want the player to brandish the item when he picks it? For the heart, it's not the case. So when you walk on the heart on the map, there is no ta-da-da-da and no dialogue. But the shield is an important item, so there is the treasure animation with the shield and also with the sword. So that's why there was a dialogue. And the dialogue, it also already exists because it was included in the file you downloaded, dialogs.dat. We can edit this from the quest editor, even though there is no graphical dialogue editor yet. So it's in languages, English, right click, open dialogues. Oh, there's okay. Dialogue shown when the hero obtains a treasure. For each item, and more precisely for each variant of each item, there must exist a dialogue with exactly this ID, _treasure dot the name of the item dot the variant. If you forget to do that, you will have a lot of problems. Same thing if you forget to create the animation in the entities/items sprite. Okay, so I prepared 3 dialogues for because there are 3 variants of shields and 4 variants of swords. I forgot the one of the heart. Never mind. You see there is no dialogue when you pick a heart, so we can forget to make the dialogue unless we put a heart in the chest. And there are also a few other dialogues required by the engine. Okay. Destructible items. Then we have the chests, of course. Chest, edit chest. Let's put the sword in the chest. Variant 1. You can also change the sprite of a chest. For example, do we have big chests in here? Not sure. Anyway. Okay. Let's take the sword. You found the sword, courage. Use it to vanquish your enemies. Oh, by the way, the dialog box that we see is a very basic default dialog box, but you can change it. You can script your own dialog box with a nice frame, a nice font, making each letter appear gradually, add questions, icons, everything you want, because actually there is no real limit, because the dialog box can be scripted with the Solarus API in Lua, but by default no frame, no special decoration. And the font that is used here is actually a default font that you have when you create an empty project, and it is here in text. There are 2 default fonts. You have 8bits.png. Yes, it's this one. It's a PNG font, so it's not you cannot change the size, but it's nice when you want a pixelized effect. And you also have a vectorial font here, It's also very pixelized, but you can change the size, and you can add other fonts. You just have to declare them in this file. We'll see that in a future tutorial. Okay, what else? We have seen the three main kinds of treasures. You also have treasures when you create enemies, because when you create an enemy, we will not do that in this episode, but you can choose the treasure that is dropped by the enemy when he's killed. And you also have shop treasures, something the hero can buy. Shop treasures allow you to create shops very easily without making scripts, without having to program in Lua. Okay, I think that's enough for this episode. So when you create an item, recall that you must include an animation with the name of the item in the sprite entities/items, and you also have to make a dialog for the item. Okay, thank you for watching. If you have questions, don't hesitate, add a comment, and see you next time. Bye bye.